KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
You wearing ratty jackets from Stephen Barry's. Praying one day Big Red will win the NIT.
Ham is the water of meats.
Ham the water of meats.
Ham is the water of meats.
Someone needs for
Ham is the
bacon.
water of meats.
All right, we're going to lay down some ground rules here.
On what?
If there are any mentions whatsoever about the debacle that happened this weekend on the north side of Chicago, I am hanging up on your ass. Oh, he's wearing the hat. Goodbye. He's out of here. He's gone. Get him out of here.
Come on.
Man,
Come on.
my team sucks. I had no idea your team sucked that bad. That was
They're bad.
They're bad.
I can proudly say outside of Friday, because the game was on while we were doing the program, I watched none of it this weekend because I am out. It's football season.
Yeah, welcome to the club. Let's go.
Hey, hold on. You got to let your seasons finish, John. You don't need to be jumping ahead to the next one. A wise man once told me that.
Hey, don't call John wise.
I'm very wise, but the Cubs have never lost 13 games. By the way, there is still a chance, ladies and gentlemen. They've lost all 13 home games this month. There is still a chance, ladies and gentlemen.
It's August 23rd. How is that possible?
There is still a chance, ladies and gentlemen. If the Cubs can't win at least one game from the Rockies this week, that the Nebraska Cornhusker football team will have amassed more wins in the state of Illinois in the month of August than the Chicago National League Ball Club. This could happen. This could happen.
Or they could be tied.
They could be tied.
Or they could be
at 0-0.
It's 0-0.
Or 1-1.
There it is. Typical media negativity. There it is. I knew it was coming.
I got some more negativity for you, Jack, from another Nebraska media member. Mike Schaefer is this person's name. Ask him why he spent so much on Amari Cooper.
Me? Because it was a fine deal. It was a fine deal.
He's often hurt. He does, CeeDee Lamb.
Josh, I'm with you this year. I'm with you for Cowboys games this year. I got Amari.
All right.
Nobody wants to talk about your fantasy team.
Yeah, that's true.
Josh, you violated the first rule.
I'm sorry. Jack. I'm sorry. I apologize to you, and I apologize to all of our listeners.
How much of today? I mean, obviously, you saw Scott Frost's press conference. Did you? How much of the other players?
I actually didn't see any of Scott Frost's press conference. I mean, by the time I turned it on,
the whole thing again, if you want, it only takes.
I got down here and I was going to turn it on, and it was like, "What? Wait, it's over. What's happening?"
Dude, I went next door to get lunch because here's what I thought. All right, it's gonna, that my food was ready basically at 12:30 is when it started, right? And so I'm like, the press conference will probably be a couple minutes late. By the time I get there, get back, I'll be good to go. I walk in and John's like, "You have to see this," and then it's basically over 2 minutes later. It was done. I hadn't even finished my food yet.
Yeah, no, I did. So I didn't actually see it. I mean, I read basically the transcript of it, but so I know what was said. But I didn't even get whatever awkwardness there was of the video. I just haven't even had a chance to see that yet. I've been busy on Twitter, okay?
Oh, I didn't notice.
Yes, because it's easier to react to stuff instead of actually see the stuff you're reacting to.
Wow.
I'm not reacting to stuff.
Millennial, am I right?
I'm not reacting to stuff. I'm not reacting to stuff at all. My point on Twitter was I am fine with short press conferences as long as there's winning and as long as there isn't scapegoating. And people seem to agree with that, although a lot of people also decided that meant that they needed to tell me why Frost had the short press conference, which I was saying was okay, and I'm just very confused. Yeah, by the reaction.
So you're fine. You're okay. It's all
no,
right.
I'm not okay, John. Thanks for asking. I'm not okay at all. Okay. We are on Monday it's August 23rd. It's August 23rd. It already feels like all of those terrible seasons where the fans where Nebraska football feels like politics. It's already there. It's already there without a game. How did we get here? This was what Scott Frost was the Scott Frost era. I'm not blaming him. This is what this era was not supposed to be anymore. The Pelini fights or the Callahan fights or the Riley fights and the fans are fighting each other and the media and the fans and all of that. I'm so tired of it. I thought it was done. And here I am spending an entire afternoon on Monday having these conversations that I'm usually having in November of lame duck coach years.
Yeah, Jack, I got a text right before the show from David, and he says it feels like we're in the middle of a poopy season, not the first, and he didn't say poopy, not the first game week of the year with all the BS already. And I thought what you just said and what he said, I thought that was a great descriptor. It really does. Today felt like coming off of a bad loss in the middle of October that kind of signals that the season is going into the dumps. Not game one. I mean, I think of I had all these questions about the entire season prepared for you. And I know John and I are going to be doing our season previews this week. And now it's like, oh, so we're just redirected entirely.
It feels like they're circling the wagons because of adversity right now. And the fan base is ready. All of a sudden, the fan base is ready to jump on this team and get going and get a win here in this first week. I hate it. I hate it so much. I'm not even casting blame necessarily. It doesn't take anything anymore to get to this point, but it is the problem. And they have got to, I am 100% certain of it. The only solution is consistent and unexpected winning. It will change. It can change quickly. That poison can get out of here, but that has got to happen. And if that doesn't happen, if it's happening now, these things that we're talking about, I describe it as Nebraska football feeling like politics. It's going to be on steroids by the time October hits.
Here's the thing, though. You're 4 weeks away from the next opportunity for an unexpected win, because the next 3 are expected for the most part.
No,
I mean, I'm sure there's some people yelling at the radio saying, "Oh, I'm not expecting Nebraska to beat Illinois," but come on, they're a 7-point favorite. They got roughly a 60-ish% chance of winning. Mm-hmm. It's a game that, they're expected to win. And even if they do, barring a 70-3 type win, there's not going to be a whole lot of folks who are going, well, but they got to show us. We've been hearing all off season about I'm tired of the talk. I'm tired of all this other stuff. It's got to be about show me, don't tell me. And the next opportunity to do that is in Norman, Oklahoma in 4 weeks.
I disagree with the way that you're characterizing the Illinois game. Since when? I mean,
you think the Illinois game's going to get people to go, oh, everything's fine?
Well, I mean, in the scale of how bad or how good it will feel after that, yeah, it's a wide. I mean, there is a wide margin. I don't think they'll say everything's fine, but a win there is not a win. That they lost to Illinois at home last year. Okay, they've lost this game, John, repeatedly. They lost to Minnesota. This game has been a loss more than it's been a win in the last 2 years.
All right. So for those of you just listening on the radio, not on the video stream, I got my hand halfway up here, right? Okay. So this is where people are right now. You're right. If it's an Illinois loss, the hand disappears.
Right.
I'm sorry. If Illinois beats Nebraska, right, it's gone.
The hand disappears.
And you're right. But if Nebraska wins, it probably goes to here.
And then they have 2 more games they're going to win, and it goes here, and it goes here.
You think so?
No.
And then they lose to Oklahoma, and it goes here. And then they beat Michigan State, and it goes up to here. And then it's primetime, Northwestern, 4-1, college game day, under the lights, pumpkin spice lattes.
I'm just going off how people have been this offseason with what we've called malaise or whatever it is you want to call, just kind of oh man, it doesn't seem like the same type of anticipation. The next opportunity for people to really get jazzed and excited isn't until Oklahoma. That's all I'm saying.
And Jack, for the record, I agree with John. I think, look, I think a win over Illinois this weekend, it's kind of a stiff arm to a lot of the negativity, but I don't think it's like shoving it into the ground or anything like that. I think and I don't think the next 2 games after that are going to do anything to change the minds of people on how good this season will or won't be.
It's going to be a win. Listen, but it's going to put a product on the field that is a win that you're going to have to talk about as you lead up to another game. It's going to drown out the vacuum of the summer in a lot of ways, I think. And I think that alone will be the impact. And then it's what you have to set up the scenario that I'm talking about. That is the magic elixir to get this fan base back to a place where there is legit unified excitement, and the focus is not the head coach, and the focus is not off the field stuff, and it is just getting fired up to beat the opponent across the ball from you, and none of that other crap that's going in there. And that's, you get to that Northwestern game, and that's where that happens.
I understand where you're coming from. But just based on what the timeline has been, the Twitter timeline, the message board timeline, the reaction, the stuff that we've gotten, it's going to take a lot more than a 4-1 start and an exciting Northwestern atmosphere to tamp down some of that stuff. I'm not saying I want this, okay? Don't get me wrong. I'm not wanting any of this because I dread some of these types of conversations similar to 2013, but amplified because the circumstances are so much different and the atmosphere around all of us is so much different. I was
going to say, yeah, the state of the country right now is in a much worse place than it was in 2013.
Absolutely. I'm not looking forward to any of that, but just based on what I've seen the last few weeks, heck, the last few days, it's going to take a lot more than a 4-1 start to get people in your view, in your world, unified. Right. There's a lot of folks that are starting to get entrenched right now in their in their battle stations.
Here's the other thing,
2013, and that's scary to me.
Here's the other thing that you need for that to happen, and this one is going to be a little bit more controversial, but I said it on Twitter a few days ago. I think there's got to, and we did not see this today, but I think there's got to be a pivot in. Especially what you hear from Frost, but from the whole program, that is, you know, it's no more blaming the Riley staff or what happened in 1997 or the media or disgruntled fans or any of that. That creates it. That creates sides on this whole thing.
Yes.
That feeds it.
Yes.
I mean, it's in the best interest, whether you believe it or not. It is in this program's best interest to stay away from that stuff and get this fan base and get this state and get people unified and feeling like it once did, which it hasn't forever. You're worried about the sellout streak. Guess what? The fan base needs not to be divided. Those sorts of things. And so that's the other part of it. Yeah, you're right. I'm not saying the a win against Illinois cures all by any means, but that gap that you were showing, it goes forward instead of backwards, and it sets up a few weeks where you're just going to gradually have you're not going to have the drama for a few weeks, which I think is going to be a big deal. It's going to feel good if you get there and potentially sets up that scenario that I've been talking about.
All right, Jack, a happy question for you then. What are you most excited, most intrigued to see on the field on Saturday? Player, side of the ball, position group? Is there something that you're extra curious about compared to like the rest of the team?
I think I'm most curious and interested about the defense, because I continue to believe that if this defense, if Nebraska is going to be better than expected, this defense is going to really come through in a way that the defense here has not for a while under Frost or really Riley for that. And that means, driving a turnover margin plus, which never happens here. And number two, that means getting to the quarterback and pressuring the quarterback. And especially from some of the defensive end position and getting the linebacker position as well. If those things look good initially, that's going to be, in my opinion, a real trending upward or trending downward thing for what the rest of this season is if that defense, just with the eye test in creating turnovers and pressuring quarterbacks against Illinois, is really able to impact the game in ways that they haven't before. That's the biggest thing that I want to see. That'll be the biggest good news, bigger than who the running back is, bigger than Adrian Martinez, how he looks, bigger than which wide receivers come out of this game. That to me is the number one thing that I'm going to take a stock up, stock down for the rest of the season.
What's the biggest thing you're most nervous about with this team on the field? Talking strictly on the field. What's the biggest thing that's like, man, I'm not sure about this? That you get that you have another year where that Adrian still doesn't look right. And it's, we've had the injuries, we've had the other issues. You got pulled last year. You had the year with the injuries. That's probably it. Because what next, right? What do you do in that situation if you still have the turnover problems? If you still can't get those sideline routes, those routes in the flats that are thrown consistently well?
That's probably it. And then my number 2 concern is that haven't completely ditched the horizontal passes, and we never will see them again. And if that the second play is going to be a freaking horizontal pass. Now that is one place I will be critical of the coaching staff. Get rid of the stupid horizontal passes. I'm so tired of them. They never work.
Is it too easy to say that Adrian is the guy you're rooting for most this year, both because of his position and because of the hand that he's been dealt over the last few seasons?
Yeah, it is hard not to like him. It's hard not to like him. His commitment to the program, just who he is, who he's been. He goes out publicly and does all these things. Yeah, I want him absolutely as much as anyone. I want them to have a good season because of all the crap that he's been through and that he stayed with the program and he hasn't left at any point and he's had his head up. He's been a leader when he got benched. Yeah, that's Josh. It's hard to think of anyone else. It would feel. I mean, you've got to have a real hardened heart as a Nebraska fan not to think that would be pretty special to see him be able to really have everything come together for a season in a way that we all, I think, thought was coming, 3 games into his career, 3 games after he got hurt, 3 games into his freshman year and finally hit that level. But at the same time, like I said, I'm concerned that isn't going to happen because you just haven't seen it for so long. I hope that's not a valid concern.
All right, hate to take things back off the field again.
We're going back to negative town.
Well,
exit at negative town. Choo-choo.
But the other news of the day that happened earlier this morning was that the Big Ten made it official what they're going to do in case of too many players with COVID, that there's going to be a forfeit. But my biggest question continues to be, how is all of this being policed? Now, Frost gave a little bit of detail today saying that they were going to test I'm assuming he's just speaking for Nebraska, and this isn't a conference-wide policy, but Nebraska is testing once a week for unvaccinated players. My question is, we went through an entire year last year where everything was regimented, and every school had to follow the exact same guidelines, use the exact same testing. They had to report it through a centralized source. It had to then go to the Big Ten Conference. Everything was like A through Z, just everything down the line. This year, it just seems like the conference has divested itself of any of that and just said, hey, it's up to all of you. How are we going to know if one school is policing it better than the other? And how are we going to know if a team's actually at the point where they do have to forfeit? Or will teams – you see where I'm getting here? Because I'm not certain how we're gonna find out anything, and if some schools are taking this in a different direction than others.
Yeah, I don't know, John. I don't know if there's no protocol that exists, or I don't know if they're just not saying it publicly with this, but you're right. There are all sorts of questions. And here's the thing. If I assume you're within the program, you've had your questions answered, because let's be honest, this is going to cost wins and losses. This is going to cost wins. Yeah. This is going to cost games. And so I want to know, okay, who's monitoring who's monitoring other schools doing this? Right? Teams that have several unvaccinated players. Is it a fair playing field? Hopefully all of those questions have been answered to the programs, and the programs know, but we, the public, I mean, as far as I know, and normally the Big Ten is so good with these sort of communications, it's just surprising to see. But,
there you go. Turn that hatred somewhere else.
Down to the
that's all we need to do.
Direct that hatred outside, not inside.
Yes, we're going to need another. I thought I had preached enough to the choir on that during the Bo Pelini era and the Mike Riley era, but no, we've got to learn our lesson again. And yes, I will be making fun of other Big Ten teams and other teams I dislike on Twitter the weekend after this constantly if they're losing, no matter what's going on with Nebraska. And I'll continue to do that because it is the magic potion that we all need as a fan base.
So because with Illinois in the past, you haven't really had a lot of material to work with.
Yeah, the Nebrois kid.
Yeah, nobody's posted Nebranoy kid yet, have they?
Right. I saw him yesterday on a national guy.
But you get Burt. So I'm assuming that this week's going to be a lot of Burt tweets from you.
I've got to get ready. See, I was going to do all of this afternoon. This is what I should have been tweeting. Rounding the troops together, whoever they are, all types of people, all types of races and political beliefs, men and women and transgender and everything together as Nebraskans talking about how goofy the opposing coach is. But no, we got to talk about Nebraska media and head coaches.
Remember when old Brett, when We thought he might be coming to Nebraska for a day
Bert.
when he said that he was all hog. Remember that? I'm all hog. He said that. That's a quote from him. I'm all hog.
Well, have you seen his wife? I mean, I understand that.
What does that mean, John?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you were referring to something else.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Amazing Daniel agrees with you, Jack. He says, I'm not sure when the last time I wanted Nebraska to play a great game and win this much. If they poop the bed on Saturday, it will be a long, terrible year.
Yes, it's hilarious that you've got all these people, and I know they're generally going at media and that sort of thing, but who are telling me that this is what this is what I want. I want controversy around Frost. I want to see him fail. Oh, I love all the hype. Yeah, I'm going through a living hell in sports for the last decade, basically. I would give my left arm to have anything go right in sports. You really think that's what I want? Come on. How?
Well, you're a member of the media. Of course, that's what you want.
No. And by the way, and I'm sure you guys can attest to this. You can bring Stacy down, or you can bring your GM down, and you can say, hey, what do you think would be better for our station? Well, as a whole, getting advertisers, getting ratings, talking to ad agencies. What do you think would be better? If Nebraska has a 4-7 season and the coach gets fired and it's very scandalous, or Nebraska surprisingly goes 9-2 into the Big Ten championship into a bowl game, what would they say?
I mean, either of those would be pretty surprising because it would mean they only played 11 game season.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to focus on. Jeez, I'm making an incredible point, and you focus on the dumbest little thing because I don't. Those details don't matter.
I know. Lincoln East education. I get it.
Got him.
I saw that.
Jack, we're asking all of our guests this week what Nebraska's record is going to be. Even Mike Farron.
How many games are there?
Farron's prediction tomorrow.
How many games are there?
There's 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12.
Do I have time to be able to look at the schedule?
I mean, we could run through it.
What, you haven't done this yet? The person who wastes all of his time coming up with color-coded TV watching schedules when there's a perfectly good TV guide on your screen. You can't have a prediction yet on the season.
The only part of the schedule that I don't know by heart is it Minnesota and then Purdue, or Purdue and then Minnesota? I know the rest of the schedule, though.
Do you know why? I've always stopped when I've got to that Northwestern game. The Great Reawakening. I'm focused on that first, getting to 4-1 and the Great Reawakening under the lights, where the Oktoberfest and the Halloween candy and the pumpkin spice lattes will be flowing in the Busch Light apples. It will be amazing. What a fall extravaganza when we once again come together as one. I got to look. So, I don't know. John tells me this is an easy win, so I guess you're beating Illinois.
It was an easy win.
He said it's a 7.5 point game. Why am I even mentioning that you would ever lose a game? They've never lost a game they should win. So definitely beating Illinois. I'm going to go. They beat Fordham and Buffalo. I'll go lose to Oklahoma at Michigan State. Whew.
That's a tough one, man.
Whew.
To me, that's the second trickiest game on the schedule beyond this one.
Yeah.
Is Rocky still their quarterback?
No, he's gone.
Rocky's gone.
Jeez, he was barely there. I'm just kidding. He's been there for 8 years.
Hardly knew him.
Yeah, well, I think Michigan State's got a lot of problems on the left side of the offensive line. I am just kidding. I have no idea. But I'll pick Nebraska in that one. So
left tackle situation.
Right. So what are we? 4-1. And here we are.
And then Northwestern wins because that's what they do.
The reawakening night comes on the evening of October 2nd. Nobody else is arguing about the media or the coach or anything. They're all just saying, Jack, give us more jokes about Pat Fitzgerald. Talk more about Coach Boyfriend. We agree with you. Oh, it's so good to be hugging again. The Great Reawakening. There's no way you can overcome that power. So I'm at 5-1. Michigan, I feel like they're going downhill. So that's a win too. 6-1. Okay. Minnesota.
Yes, it is. Sounds like the crystal ball there.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm getting out of hand. So I probably need to just pick a loss to Minnesota because things can never be that nice.
Nothing says excitement like a loss to Coach run up and down the sidelines really, really fast.
Yeah. All right. So we'll take an L there. Beat Purdue, lose to Ohio State, lose at Wisconsin, but come home. And finally, the goalposts come down in Memorial Stadium on Black Friday as the snow falls, and I weep openly while texting every one of my in-laws And that's a win against Iowa. How many wins is that? Anybody counting?
You got 9 wins.
No.
Yeah, he did. He had losses to Oklahoma, to
He had Oklahoma, Minnesota, Ohio State, and
Wisconsin.
Okay,
4 losses.
8-4. 8-4.
You check off all my boxes for a successful season, get back to a bowl game, have more wins, and beat Iowa or Minnesota. All of those happen. Yep. All of those.
World Herald.
Oh, I'm the same as the World Herald?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they know what they're talking about.
But they're negative, though, I hear.
So am I.
Apparently.
We're all negative.
I don't know.
All right, well, we'll put it down on the board. You've broken the media schneid right now. Everyone has picked 7 and 5 so far.
No, I'm 8-4. I'm one more.
I love it.
I'm one more. This is it. We're turning it around. The awakening.
You come on the show in a week if Nebraska loses.
Well, I come on. Oh, God. That is going to be the worst.
Why did you have to
and you know what we're going to talk about?
No, I wanted to know for Nick's sake.
If they lose, you know what we're going to talk about? Nebraska ball season, the McGowans. I'm going all in on Nebraska ball talk.
Let's
if
go.
They lose on Saturday.
It won't even be week 1 in college football yet. And Jack's like, let's get to basketball.
Basketball, and we can do a volleyball minute too if you want. Yeah.
There you go.
Sounds good.
I heard they're 100% vaccinated, according to John Cook. Good on them.
They were. Yeah.
Good on them.
Yes. Congratulations, by the way.
Yep.
Just
all right.
Well,
thanks for the conversation, and we'll talk to you next week.
We love you, Jack.
Thanks. Sorry for the negativity.
Now you can go back to your Twitter and keep fighting with random.
This
randos.
started a 12-tweet thread from Jack Mitchell.
Yep. That's what's happening. Hey, do you know what we're going to be doing? We're going to be on the road this week.
What? Where?
We're going to McDonald's.
Hell yeah!
We're going to McDonald's.
I'm getting fries.
The newest Metro McDonald's, and it's owned by only women. It's the first one in the city owned by all women. 205th and North Main in Elkhorn.
Awesome.
And all of our shows are going to be there.
The whole day, 6A to 6P?
6A to 6P.
Huh.
So if you stop by the new Darmody Family McDonald's in Elkhorn and purchase your big red flag, a donation will be matched by the Darmody family, and it's all going to help Ronald McDonald House Charities here in Omaha.
That's great.
So we're going to be in Elkhorn.
That's great.
This Friday. Nick will be there too.
Nick, they're allowing him to leave the premises of NRG Media?
We're going to have chicken McNuggets and Big Macs.
All the sides and
sauces. Apple pies and Cokes.
I'm just going to eat fries all day long.
And fries.
All day long.
1620 The Zone. $16.20 The Zone.
Click OK or X, Nick. Just click yes. 1620 The Zone.
Michael Severe, inquisitive, analytical, experienced, with a bad sense of humor. Damon Bennett.